All right, now that I got the right window open, good morning,
Yes.
good evening, good afternoon. How are you, everyone? I am Chris Short, Principal Technical Marketing Manager, Red Hat on the OpenShift team, here on OpenShift TV with y'all, joined today by the one and only Christian Hernandez. Christian, please introduce yourself.
Yes. The one and only. Hopefully, the one and only. Yeah. So Christian Hernandez, technical marketing manager as well on Chris's team, by the way. So, when I'm
It's not
not,
my team. It's the other Chris's team.
it's the other Chris's team, right? We're on the same team. When I not only see Chris on the Twitch stream, but I interface with him on the Slack channel, and so yeah. So I'm here.
You're
We
here to
talk
talk about workers, but not
worker
like
nodes. Yeah.
building them at build time, which is typically the easiest time.
Yeah, the
After
easiest
the
time.
fact,
Yeah, after the fact, right? So we all
when
like
it's
to.
not so easy.
Yeah, when it's not so easy. That's right. When well, it depends what you're doing, right? So like it depends on we would all love to think that we size our environments correctly the first time. We love to think that, right?
Capacity planning is a thing,
Capacity
folks.
planning, right? Exactly. We like to think that we do all the math and the carry the ones and everything.
Mm.
But yeah, there comes a time where you need to grow your cluster, whether whether it's for you're expecting capacity, or whether
More
you run a.
containers.
Yeah, well, everyone has that Super Bowl ad, right? Analogy, right? Like you're gonna run a Super Bowl
Right.
ad and you need to plan for that capacity, or you're just growing as a company, right? You're just growing and you just need to add capacity. So I scheduled 2 hours here, but I don't think we'll take 2 hours. Mostly, I want to see what questions are here. So I'm going to go over, doing it the easy way, right? Adding a worker the easy way, the way everyone is adding it. But I'm going to actually be doing it on VMware, and then I'm going to add a worker on my bare metal install, right? So I have
Oh,
a
snap.
bare metal install. I'm going to go through the whole process of like, okay, like if I was really an admin, sitting on my desk, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to add a worker. How would I do that, right? Manually, right? And then we can just talk about how we can automate all that thing. So here, let me see. Let me just share my screen here. Desktop 2, no, desktop 3. I believe it's desktop
The
3.
magic of screen sharing and Zoom is
Yeah,
always.
well, it's always fun, but the thing
Hey,
is,
there we are.
yeah. See, that should be I should be at the bottom, I think. Yeah, I'm at the bottom. Well, what's funny is that I have I have my left screen, my middle screen, and my right screen, but they're like out of order in Fedora. So like my second screen is screen 3, so I always have to look to make sure I'm going to share the right one. So yeah, so I always start off on this page because whoever isn't, if you've been living under a rock, if you want to see anything on OpenShift.tv, it takes you here, or OpenShift.com/streaming. Get the calendar. Make Chris
Yes.
Short happy. We should
Hit the
have a T-shirt that says "Make Chris Short happy."
Yeah, OpenShift.tv on the back.
Yeah, exactly. There you
Dude,
go.
I would
See,
love to have like a logo
a
that just looks like the Supreme logo that just says OpenShift TV, right? Like I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
asking
exactly.
for much.
Yeah, something simple. Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's do things the easy way, right?
Okay, so we're doing things the easy way first.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
let's do a login here. This is my VMware on vSphere, OC get nodes. Right, as
Cool.
you can see, this is a VMware API install, right? So this is very easy. OpenShift install, hit enter. One thing I actually discovered the other day, get cluster version. Is it cluster version altogether? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, show YAML. Here you can actually see if you get the cluster version. I believe it tells you what platform you're on.
Oh my God. Do you hear this? What's going on in my house right now?
I
daughter trying
hear
to FaceTime
faint.
me right now.
I hear like a faint sound, but
It's the
I don't-
second time my daughter tried to FaceTime me this week during a live
Oh,
stream.
fun time. Tell her to jump on Twitch.
Right? Yeah. Let me give her the Zoom credentials real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Here,
You
hop
just have
on,
her
honey.
jump
What's
on.
up?
Yeah.
It actually might be important. I don't know.
Yeah. So here, get cluster version. I discovered it the other day, where it actually tells you what platform you're on.
Does it?
Is it?
Shoot. It's like.
Is it cluster version or get cluster?
Get
Cluster
node?
default. Something like that.
Huh.
And you want
Get node default? Get cluster default? You just did get cluster default.
Let me see. Get cluster version. Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
Nah.
So if someone on chat, if they know it, Washari would probably know it.
Washari probably does know it.
He probably knows it. So like if you can put it on the chat there, I'll show you. But there's a way to show it, right?
Like what your arch is and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if I do OC get machine sets, right?
OC get SC.
Oh yeah, that's actually OC get SC. That's probably like the quickest, right? I have the thin provision on vSphere volume. Washari, there's this will actually is the quickest way to show. Like I'm actually using vSphere. But there's I forget what it is.
There is like a long command.
Well, there's a command and it tells you what platform you're on. So like if you're on bare metal, it'll show none. If it's on vSphere, it'll say vSphere. If it's on AWS, ad nauseum, right? So but yeah, so I am actually using vSphere volume here. So I do machine sets, right? I only have I have the default machine set, right, of the workers, right? I want current three available, right? So if I do OC get machines, this will tell you the machines that I'm running on, right? This is like gives me 1, 2, 3. So
the config map for cloud provider, most likely.
Most likely, yeah. Interesting. OC get what? See, now he's got me curious. Okay.
Yeah. So like.
Let me look for. I have.
Start pulling up OC commands.
Yeah, start pulling up OC. Well, I have the. I have maintained like a notes. Page. Let's see if I wrote it down. I did not.
Get node information. What is that? Oh, that's CPU type.
Yeah, I could like CPU and. Well, let's run this.
Well, maybe that shows you.
No, it just tells me I'm running 4 OS with 4 CPUs.
Yeah.
When I discover it, I'll write it down finally. So I have three machines and a machine set that's managing 3 machines, right? So the easiest way to do it is to scale the machine sets, right?
Right.
So if I do OC scale machine set, and then I take the machine set that is listed here. Replicas, I have 3, right? So I want 4 now. And then this is in the namespace of
Machine API.
Machine API, right? So that's scale. So this starts the process. So if I go,
it takes a bit.
Yeah, it takes a bit. So if I go to my vSphere here platform here, and if I go to right here, VMs virtual machines, right? So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 workers. Right. So this one just spun up. And if I go over to OC get machine sets, right? I have 4. I want 4. Currently 4. There's only 3 ready, right? Because it has to go through the bootstrapping process,
right?
Which I'll go over in detail because we're doing this automatically, right?
Yeah.
The manual way is we'll show
the fun part.
The fun part, right? Yeah, we'll show you how that sausage gets made. So if I do OC get machines,
joys of sausage making.
Yeah. So this one is H4KCW. Let me see if I can find that H4HKCW. See what's going on in this web console. It looks like it's booted up already. So it's provisioned, right? So if I do OC get nodes, it should say I still have 3, right? So it's provisioned. It's still going through the bootstrapping, setting up aspect of it, right? So what's going on here, if I do, let me clear the screen. If I do OC get, let's say machine config. Right, what's happening is that, let me get a machine config pool as well. So all the workers are getting this rendered worker configuration, right, for the machine config operator. So it's applying everything that's in this rendered worker. So if I do OC get machine config, I'm gonna less this because it goes off the page here. It's basically applying all this configuration, right? So it's applying
everything.
Everything. Yeah, the SSH keys, the
DNS, like DNS, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, everything it needs, right? The Kubernetes storage, blah blah
the whole
blah,
9 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. So it actually takes a while for it to shockingly takes a while here. So
and something that came up at KubeCon that I kind of wanted to touch on, if you don't mind, right? Like people say, like EKS is faster, AKS is faster, whatever, that's great, but you don't own the control plane.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's why it's faster. You don't own that. So the second, and it's like, I talk to people, it's like, yeah, I'm having problems, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, you're having that problem because you can't change the setting on the control plane.
On the control plane. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's it's one of those things, right? Like, yeah, K3S is the fastest, but do you want fast? Do you want it, monitored? Do you want it like what is there's a K2S? I didn't know there's a K2S.
There's a K2S
what is that
now? Wow, even smaller than K3S.
Yeah. Okay. So is there a K1S? Like what would that be?
Yeah. Once you get to a K1S,
that's just the container, right?
That's K0S, right?
No, there's not a K2S. It's just a typo.
There's no K2S.
Okay, yeah. No, but I mean, yeah, exactly, right? Like, yeah, if you want a fast startup cluster, right, there's a lot of ways to get that. But if you want a cluster that's got the, I just printed this out as we were talking earlier this week, the cloud native trail map built into it, without you having to figure out the entire platform yourself and glue it all together, then come to OpenShift land.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like where do you want to spend your time, right? It's opportunity cost.
Yeah. Do you want to build all this yourself?
Right. Do you want to build it all yourself?
Yeah.
Or just install the platform and start, running your application.
And start making money on it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Start making your money. So it looks like my node is up but not ready because it's just doing stuff, rebooting, right? So if there is
and up for a whopping 64 seconds. Yeah, no, it's taking that API is not ready yet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it also has to do like the machine config operation, but then like all the updates, right? So if I have if the image that I was storing is running an older version of a Red Hat Core OS, it'll just upgrade that, right?
Oh, but look at that. There you go.
Okay, it's up. It took about a minute and a half, right? Let's see here. Right? This is give or take, right? And I have slow storage, right? So it could have taken faster, right? If you're running like NVMe, fiber channel, whatever. Not the SATA drives that I'm running. Not the 7200 RPM.
I got 10K RPM drives in the server I bought, and I'm very happy about that. But then I looked at like how cheap it was to upgrade, and I was like, wow, for another $300, I could have SSDs.
Yeah, SSDs. Yeah, exactly. Or like NVMe's. So the NVMe's with the PCIe.
That's what I have in the streaming rig right now, right? And it has like 0 IOPS, right? It's just like, here you go, have at it.
The ones that are in the not the M2 ones, but the ones that you can put on the PCIe slots. Those are actually cheaper than you would think.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they're not cheap, but
you've got a question from the mighty Burst Sutter.
Oh, Burst Sutter.
Yeah. Is there a way to sleep and wake nodes versus destroy and recreate? Like, could you just have these spun up and then like just say offline? Right?
Sleeping to say charges on an IaaS provider.
Yeah. Like, could you just say shut down the node? And the cluster would still perform. It would just not schedule things on that node,
I guess,
right? Like, I mean, in theory, yes.
Yeah, let's try that, right? So let's pick one of these guys. Let's pick, let's just pick the one.
Pick an old one. No,
an older one. Okay.
Yeah, pick one. Pick number one.
This guy here.
Yeah, whatever,
So that is XDX4C. XDX4C. for XD. There we go. And let's power that off. I guess you would. So
yeah,
like,
Rashari is mentioning that there is a script that does this, but there would be certificate issues at some point.
Yeah, but well, I'm thinking. So I'm thinking, and this might this kind of bleeds over to that other talk we're doing, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Thing, but it kind of bleeds over. But like my question to you is that, and I don't mean this pejoratively, but like why? Like honestly,
if it takes 90 seconds to spin up one,
yeah, like I'm trying to think of like why if the idea is to treat your nodes as cattle. Why?
Pets.
Like
right.
yeah, like I'm just thinking like why do you want to do that? If I can just spin up another worker.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes about 5 minutes on AWS, longer on others. Really interesting.
5 minutes on AWS?
I don't want to. I doubt that I have faster storage than AWS, but
yeah.
So the well, there's like I wish to compare this concept with Knative.
Okay.
So like spin up when you need it.
Yeah.
But I think.
But couldn't you just do horizontal?
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is I'm always doing. I just installed Cube 1.19, so I have the Kubernetes command in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I could do it, right? I could do kubectl get machine autoscaler.
Yeah, like Burr's talking about what happens if your Super Bowl event might happen once a day, right? Like you'd want to be ready for that once a day.
Well, I would.
If it's a rolling kind of thing too, right? Like.
Well, I would do the machine autoscaler. Let's see if it get nodes. Yes, it's not ready, right?
Yeah.
But I think Burr's talking about like this just goes away and then comes back. But I would think that's what the machine autoscaler is for.
Right. If you're going to use OpenShift, use the autoscaler, right? Like,
yeah, the machine autoscaler, so you can have your like upper limits and lower limits. Like I want minimum of 3 workers, maximum of 20 or whatever.
Right.
And then your environment would breathe with the
capacity,
with capacity and things like that, right? So like when you reach a certain capacity, it'll shrink down. When you hit a bigger capacity, it'll spin up, right?
Yeah, like this is Kubernetes bread and butter, right? I feel like.
Yeah. So here, kubectl get nodes. So that was the look, and it's actually back already. That was actually pretty quick.
Wow.
So AWS, if you want to know what kind of servers I'm buying, 90 second spin up.
But we should. I mean, but Burr, that is a very good point. We should work with engineering on that, right, and figure out why it's taking so long for AWS nodes and not whatever, right? Like longer on like what is the holdup, right? Like let's figure out the root cause, cause, but like the long pole, operation.
Yeah. And also I like the idea of like Knative style nodes. But I think closest we have is the operator. But I mean, we would have to extend that functionality. But that's like very interesting like use case, like Knative, but with like the nodes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I would think that's something like what Firecracker was doing. I think at some point. Something like that. Like
I don't.
Your workers are containers or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was.
Oh, I mean, that could be one of those instances where OpenShift on OpenShift comes up.
Yeah, OpenShift on OpenShift. Yeah, exactly right. OpenShift as a service. Cool. So easy way, straightforward. Now let's go.
I mean, you just demonstrated the 2 ways, the 2 easiest ways.
So let me go to my tmux attach. So here I have get nodes. I have a bare metal install, right? So I have 3 masters and 2 workers. And if I go to, I installed it on KVM, right? So, but I'm treating it as bare metal. So I have the 3 masters, 2 workers. Shout out my helper node. So in case you guys haven't watched that, Twitch stream, there's a helper node Twitch stream, which is how I.
Yeah, it's on YouTube now. I'll drop the
it's on YouTube now.
Link to the archives here in a second. Oh, I forgot to create those short links today. Damn it.
That should be a shortcut. Helper node, that bang helper node, and then it just drops the stream and the link to the.
Okay, I'll add that to the list.
That's my RFA here. So this is this is KVM. I'm treating it as bare metal. I've been not using the bare metal analogy anymore. I've been this is the public announcement, right? I've been using agnostic installer because bare metal IPI is coming, and when we say IPI, meaning that there's like integration with other things, right? Like the Redfish project to get a bare metal nodes up and running. So that means that bare metal UPI will no longer mean what it means now. So to differentiate it, I'm just going to call this the agnostic installer. So I use the non-integrated agnostic installer, or also known as bare metal UPI. The longest name ever. so this means that's all
only you.
Only me, right? Exactly. This means there's no integration with any like cloud provider or any sort of it's just basically an install that you've done manually. So so I have this. I'm hitting the CPU limit pretty high here. If you guys don't see this, so if this doesn't work, I need more RAM.
Yeah.
So I'll try to make this worker as tiny as possible. I'm not even swapping yet. I think I'm just hitting CPU. I'm at load average of 4, not too bad.
That's not terrible.
Not too bad.
How many CPUs do you have in this thing?
8. I have 8 threads. So.
Oh, well, you're good.
I think I'll be okay. I'll be okay just to at least install it. So to manually install, so this is a bare metal, right? There's no machine sets. So if I do kubectl get machine sets, there's no resources found, right? Because I did this manually, right?
Right.
So how would I install a new worker, right? So some of the things that you need to take into consideration is if you go to the docs page, the same thing that you use to install it, right, on bare metal, the same things that you take into consideration, things like, okay, for the compute, like how big do I want my compute?
Right.
DHCP, right? So like if you're using DHCP address reservations, you need to account for that. Load balancers, DNS, right? Network connectivity.
Things.
So all the fun things you did when you first installed this bare metal node, you need to take in consideration again. So I use DHCP. So I made it a little easier for me, but I didn't want to make it too easy for me. So like I don't want to use like any Ansible playbooks or anything like that to spin this up, right? Because I want to show it like the manual way. So, so I have worker 1, right? So I guess my third worker is going to be called worker 2. Nice. So since I'm using DHCP with address reservation, I need to go to Etsy DHCP. I think it's DHCP's in there, and then there's DHCP d.conf. Right. So, so here I have
fun
stuff, right? Most people would be doing this like in a router or something, or some network device of some sort. Somewhere network device. By the way, I've back in my former consulting years, someone was using DHCP, running DHCP on a Windows server, which I thought was like, whoa. But anyways,
did that in the Air Force.
I mean, it you know what? It works. It's
global scale.
Yeah. It works. It's just I just never. I would always run it like on a network device. You know what I mean? Like it just makes more sense to me.
Right. Like that's what it's there for. Yeah.
But here I am using a Linux server.
Yeah, I just created your helper node command, by the way.
Oh, okay, nice. Can I run it, or do you need to run it?
Actually, anybody can run it, but it has a 5-minute cooldown, so you can hit it in 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, I see it. Up and running, getting oh, there we go. Nice.
And if you don't like that, let me know. I can change it. I just copied the
no
description.
worries. We'll figure it out. So here I need to know the MAC address. Right. So here you either need to like spin, like if you're racking a server, you need to just know the MAC address, or if you're using KVM like me for a test, you can just create one here. This is A1. I'll just do A2. Right. Easy peasy. And then the fixed address, I'm going to want this as .13, right? So 7.13.
That works.
Works for me. So then here, I'll do a systemctl, restart DHCP-D, is it? Okay.
See what Shari's going to test that cooldown.
Helper, no, he is. That's right. He's going to
Good old lead.
What's
the error message say, Waleed? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Does it error out? Listening on. Okay, cool. So it looks like it did okay. So that's one, right? So it'll now have network connectivity, but two would be var named anytime it added in DNS, right? So let's do zone file. So let's look for worker 1. My favorite thing is DNS.
I know you are a DNS expert, and I should. You know what? That should be my next one. Bang DNS, and it's just a link to your Twitter profile.
It's just that's all it is.
He knows DNS.
Yeah. One day, you remember Brian bought me that T-shirt.
Yeah.
I need to wear it. I need to wear it during the stream. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
So worker, I have it on .13. Cool. And then I need to change the serial number, right? So today's date is August 27th. Right, 00. Cool. So that's good. I always like to put reverse.
You're just a nice person.
Because I am a DNS guy.
Yeah.
So word 2, reverse DNS. I can hear everyone saying you don't need it. I know, but
I like it. No, like
I
prefer a thorough DNS and proper DNS setup, right? Like RFC compliance to me is important.
I was trying to make an analogy. It's like you don't need to wear shoes either, but you still wear them.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
shirt,
I don't need
shirt and shoes required.
Shirt and shoes required.
Right.
Because I ran I know a lot of us admins I ran. I was a de facto. The reason I know a lot about DNS is because I was a de facto DNS guy at last job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I ran for multiple sites DNS. And it's just very helpful to have your reverse, right?
Yeah.
It's just
super helpful.
It's just super helpful to have your reverse, right? So I do systemctl restart name D. All right, cool. So I have let's do a dig of worker 2. Right. Oops. Worker 2.
Cool.
What is?
Oh, you're trying to do your local.
Yeah. Okay. So dig plus short.
Right.
Like Chris Short.
That's right.
Worker 2. Let's see, before.example.com. All right, that works. And then -x, and then do the IP address. The forward and reverse should match. Cool, perfect. And then if I grep that from Etsy dhcp.conf, I do have that address reservations for this hardware address, right? So I need to know that address when I spin up the, right? Since I'm using KVM, I can actually specify the hardware address when it comes up, right? So all right, so I have forward reverse DNS set up. If this was on on a layer 3, right? Like I'm on a flat layer 2 network, but if this is on layer 3, I would have to go into my router and make sure all those ports were open. And that could be found. I can't believe I closed it. Let's see here. Yeah, that could be found in the documentation page, right? So like network requirements.
Yep.
So if you were if you had like a router or a firewall between nodes and workers for whatever reason, you would need to.
This page is very familiar to me because back before my Nooks were doing streaming stuff, I tried to get the 2 Nooks running with KVM, without the actual rev, like the full install, and like I just couldn't get it to work. But this page was like something I read like literally at least once a day.
Yeah.
Like a week and a half, right? It was like,
yeah.
I don't think this is gonna work with just 64 gigs of RAM. Spread out between two nodes, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not gonna cut it.
not gonna cut it. Yeah. So I'll go over the ingress thing after I spin up the node, right? So
cool.
So now I have all the plumbing in place. I need to install Red Hat Core OS, right? So in order to do that, the question is, well, how do you install a new worker, right? So you do the scale machine set.
Right.
Well, how do you
do that? How do you create a replica on bare metal?
Yeah, on bare metal, right? So you install a new worker the same way you did it when you initialized the cluster, right? So if you come down here, it'll say it's somewhere right here. Creating Red Hat using an ISO image. There we go. Red Hat Core OS, right? So you need to boot up with the ISO, or if you're doing Pixie, I guess I could do Pixie. I'm not going to do it because I want to make this.
You don't want a TFTP thing running on your network?
I mean, I do have one. It's just I'm not going to use it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's just I'm not going to use it, right? I'm going to do it the ISO version, and then I'll show you how to do it in TFTP. Actually, if I have enough capacity, maybe I'll do both. So
sweet.
And it says here, you need to put in these parameters, right? CoreOS install image. So that same thing, right? So the CoreOS install image is actually sitting on my.
You have it locally somewhere.
On my on an Apache server here. Install. Right. So I have the image, right? The BIOS raw image.
Good for you for changing the name of it to something rememberable.
Yeah. Well, when you download it, it's like some big long thing. And
long ass name.
Yeah, long ass name. I'm not gonna type that out, right?
Nope.
Especially if you're like on a
nope.
If you're on a console, right? Like not even a terminal or anything. You're on a console, you can't copy paste.
No.
And then the like if you're gonna use DHCP, use DHCP, right? Which I'm gonna use DHCP. But then there's this the ignition file, right?
Right.
So the ask is what ignition file? I do have the ignition file, right, from the workers. The problem is that this ignition file has a certificate that is only good for 24 hours.
Right.
So the one you used to install, you can't use again. So actually,
yeah.
So
you need to build a new ignition file. So this is why it's important to save that original YAML somewhere.
Save it somewhere. Yeah, exactly.
Somewhere safe.
But if you Bogart it, just like I did, right?
Yeah.
I just hammered it, delete it. And then a lot of customers say, well, like, I didn't know I needed it, right?
Right.
I thought it was just for the install. But have no fear, right? In order to get a new ignition file, I'm going to go to my notes page.
You could open another browser tab, right?
Tab. Well, I guess I could have done that. Let's do that. Let's do that because that way I can go back.
You're going to need both, yeah.
So I do have a notes page because
I like micromanaging you. It's fun on the show.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, makes me feel useful. I don't know about anyone else. I can't. If I don't write it down, I won't remember it. Right. So I maintain a notes page here. Router information.
Good for you for making it public.
Yeah, I'll make it. But actually, someone like committed something to it. I don't know what.
Oh wow,
here.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, saves me from having to write things. Correct myself here. Let's see here. I got. There should be nodes, managed masters and workers and nodes, right? This is all like archaic stuff too. So if you're showing 3.11, a lot of the stuff is still applicable here. So. So here, adding nodes OpenShift 4, right? So remember what I said is if I do OC get machine config, right? There is a this thing that gets applied, this worker. So if I do OC get machine config, rendered worker, right? YAML, and this is the maybe less this here. This is a configuration that gets populated, and the machine config is based on ignition, right? So if it looks like an ignition file, that's because it is. And this is the thing that gets applied when you scale your machine sets. It's okay, Chris, don't cry.
No, I'm sorry. I looked down and it was like all of a sudden my eyes were just like,
it's like blurry.
Yeah.
It's already it's only like what, noon where you are, and it's already a long day.
Yeah, it's 1:38. Yeah.
And you're already over the day. So yeah. So
yeah, I'm already over the day. Exactly.
This is what gets applied for the ignition file, right? So how do we extract this in order to use it to install a new node, right? So there's a secret here that you can extract, right? So it says extract in the OpenShift machine config API. There's a secret called worker user data, which is essentially the ignition file that is used to install a new node, right? And I'm going to do two just standard out so you can just see. Do I have JQ here? JQ-R. There we go. And there it is.
Yeah.
This is, oops. The problem with JQ is that you can't like pipe it into anything else. It wants to be everything. So let me just use this here. Yeah, so it's basically ignition file. It has an updated certificate. So anytime the certificates rotate, right, there's automatic rotation of certificates in OpenShift. This gets updated, so you never have to worry about pulling this and having a expired certificate, right? So if I go here, if I do cd var HTML ignition, ignition. I have these other guys. I can actually just remove those because I don't need them. So I'm going to extract this to a file called worker.ign. Stat worker. I have to touch it. It's not. Come on. Let's just do this. There we go. So there it is, right? So I have the ignition file all ready to use. The JQ dash. Right, yeah, there it is. So it's valid. So make sure this is readable, right? Oh yeah, I'm using SC Linux, so let's restore con. Cool. So I added the since I'm using DHCP and using DHCP address reservation, which I recommend. I added the worker in there, or the IP address. I added it in DNS, both forward and reverse. And then I also added the ignition file, right? So now I have all the pieces that I need in order to at least boot this worker up. The final thing is to actually boot it up. So let's do that. Let's do grep, right? Because I'm gonna need that address. So let's go to VNC. Good old VNC, right? So here I'm going to create a new. I'm going to use the ISO image.
Cool.
And I'm going to use my ISO Red Hat Core OS. There it is. So Red Hat Core OS 4.5 because that's version I'm running. Cluster version 4.5.2. Okay. So I'm running that. So I choose that. And then I'm running this one. You can set it to rel 8. If you're using KVM, it's the same bits.
Nice.
And I'm going to use 2048. Try to make this as tiny as possible and then 2. So let's go forward. Minimum required is 120 gigs. So here I'm going to call this OCP4 worker 2. Customize, and then I'm gonna use the OpenShift 4 because that's the network I'm running in here. So once I'm here, I'm gonna go to the NIC. I'm gonna customize this NIC here. So I'm doing 525400, which is a prefix for KVM, which it is 525400, and then 8290. So this is 82. 9082. So 90, and this is A2. Cool. Like that. And then let's, I think that's it. Yeah, let's begin installation. See what happens. So I'm booting here. I wish I could make this bigger, but it's.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. So
y'all know the joys of this command.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, this experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's.
If you've never seen this, if you've never seen that before, that is what happens when you like hit C essentially, right?
Yeah.
To change the command. That's actually going to be run at boot, right? So if you're using RHEL or Fedora or any like Linux distro for that matter, it comes up. Yeah. If it comes up with this, you can hit C and change the actual command that's being run, right? Like this is how
pass
you
it as a kernel parameter.
Right. Like you could change things like on a Raspberry Pi this way, right? Like you can enable and disable like ports and stuff, right? Like so.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or like set up bonding, right? So
yeah.
like
network bonding, all kinds of stuff like on the fly right here on the command line before you even get started. And that's actually required in this case.
yeah, exactly. And what's really cool is the you can set this up in Pixie as well. So when it Pixie boots, you can just set all these parameters.
Yeah, and it'll just go.
And you can do Pixie boot by MAC address, which is what my helper node does. So you don't even need to touch it. You just let it Pixie boot, and it just does it automatically. So fun times, fun things from the field, right? I'm pretty sure we all done cool, crazy things like that.
Yeah.
So CoreOS. So CoreOS install equals yes. So we got that. So the device. I'm actually not too sure what the device is. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit.
You?
Yeah, var the var lib tc tftp boot pixie linux.conf. Yeah. It is a device is VDA. Okay, so it's CoreOS. CoreOS install.inst. It couldn't have made these longer, right?
I'm trying not to make a noise right now, so you don't screw up.
VDA. It's like we're gonna make everyone type this on the command line, and we're gonna make it the longest thing you'd ever have to type out, right? So, CoreOS install underscore URL, and this is the BIOS file. So here, the BIOS file would be my Apache web server. I'm running it on 8080 install bios.raw. All right, so let's do this. HTTP. And if I mess up, right? 192.168.7.77. And then I'm on port 8080. This is install bios.raw.gz. And then CoreOS install ignition URL. So this is what I'm going to do. This is where you have to type in that new ignition URL. So CoreOS, CoreOS. There we go. Install ignition underscore URL, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to mistype something here. So 192.168.7.77. This is on my Apache web server, and then ignition, and then what did I call it? HTML.
Sorry, folks. Waleed made me spam the channel.
Yeah. Worker.ign. And then
is that what's left? Did you SE Linux the thingy?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, good.
And then IP.
The thingy, the ignition file. Sorry.
Yeah. I knew what you were talking about. IP equals DHCP. Cool. So let's double check here. CoreOS.inst equals yes. So we do want to install CoreOS. I don't know why that's not the default. Like if I'm booting into a CoreOS installer, you would think I would want.
Yeah.
But all right. CoreOS install underscore dev VDA. CoreOS install underscore URL. HTTP 167. .77 install bios.raw.gz ignition URL.
You got
That
this.
looks all right to me.
You got this. Yeah. Like from the tiny view I see, it looks good.
All right. So the tiny little thing you see. So let's hit enter. We'll know right away if I mistype something.
Oh yeah, that'll be very obvious.
Yeah. It'll dump you to a dry cut command line here. So this is basic system. All right. Oh, yep. Please provide. I messed up. What did I mess up?
Image URL required. Usage is.
Did I mistype image URL?
I don't know. I didn't save what you typed, so we're gonna try this again.
Let's try it again.
Folks. This is what happens to all of us.
This is what happens to all of us. Yeah. This is okay. Well, I actually have to now.
You got to reconnect the.
Yeah, reconnect the connect browse ISO. The ISO, choose volume.
Exactly what
boot
the computer
options.
sounds like.
There we go. All right, let's make this. This is the thing, though, right? Like this is.
Yeah.
This is what. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, press start instead of like pressing like C, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is let's do this again.
Yeah.
All right. CoreOS install, yes. CoreOS.inst. Install _ device VDA. CoreOS. Image _ URL equals. That's where I messed up last time. Or was it image? Or was it ignition? No, it was image URL, right? I messed that up. Okay, so it's HTTP : oops, 7.7. Maybe I put a 1 instead of a 7 there.
Really?
780 slash
that's the one I need to create.
Sorry,
I'm doing two things at once, as always.
As always, yeah, we're all multi-threaded. It's okay.
Yeah. Humans are totally multi-threaded.
CoreOS dot install dot ignition _ URL. Oh, we're doing good on time, so I can mess up as much as I want.
Dude, yeah, you got plenty of time. Yeah.
Yeah, plenty of time to mess up.
And actually, my 3 o'clock moved, so
there we go.
Have basically till I got to leave here at 4:20 to pick up Max.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So we got till the end of the day.
Basically, yeah.
And then this is ignition worker.ign IP equals DHCP. All right, second time. All right, so let's double check. CoreOS.inst.install _ dev VDA. It's good to me. CoreOS inst. Ooh, is this VDA?
Wait.
It might be SDA.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's probably SDA, dude.
Yeah, it's probably SDA, I want to say.
This is bare metal.
Yeah. Oh, let's try this. If your 3 o'clock canceled, we're good here.
It just moved. It's Alexa and I's Twitch sync, which that's why the bot commands aren't done.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to do it because of various meeting and COVID, and she's buying a new house, kind of thing. Great for her, kind of deal. But like,
yeah,
you're about to go through that. Having to close inspections, all that fun stuff, right? Like, yeah.
Oh, I messed up again.
What did you do? It's the wrong device again. Like it's expecting a path.
No, it couldn't find the ignition config. It looks like I mistyped it. Oh, I didn't put a space. Okay. Third time's a charm.
What?
Yeah. So if you look at it's hard to see. I don't know how to make it bigger.
You can't, dude. Like always. Well, yeah. Do and then maximize the window.
There you go. Yeah, so if you see, it says, I I forgot to put a space. I don't know if you see it.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the IP colon.
Yeah. All right, so let's do this here. Let's force reset.
Okay. This makes sense.
Let's do it, man. Let's do 3rd time's a charm, hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I tell people when it's programming, you got to try 5 times. When it's
minimum,
ops, it's at least 3.
There you go. I'm gonna put the IP first. IP DHCP. Why not? The core OS dot install. Now this is like muscle memory device.
Oh, there you go. See.
Core OS dot inst image underscore URL HTTP 192.168.7.77 8080 / install bios.raw.gz space CoreOS dot inst dot ignition. That's spelled right. IGNIN. Okay. Underscore URL equals HTTP 192.168.7.77 colon 8080 ignition / URL ignition / worker.ign. So make sure that's what it is.
Right.
Worker IGN. Let's go. I'm just gonna do this now because I'm paranoid. var the HTML. Restore cons there. Systemctl restart HTTP.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Like you are being paranoid now.
I'm being paranoid. Yeah. Okay. So let's do status. Okay. So it's
like I almost wore my Set and Force One shirt today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here ignition URL ignition worker IGN. Okay. Install image. Your time to charm. We'll see.
I mean, yeah. It's the only
When
way
we
to
do
find
it,
out.
is to try it.
I'm using thesaurus.com at the moment while this is going.
What am I using for what?
I said I'm using thesaurus.com while this is going.
Oh, okay.
See, I'm
okay,
multitasking.
SDA does not exist.
Ooh.
Okay, so I found everything else.
Okay, good.
So maybe it is VDA.
Maybe it is. Why don't you look on one of the other ones?
Let's do here. I always just drop to the emergency shell.
Oh,
RDF,
that works. No.
ls var ls dev, right? VDA dev.
Yeah, there it is. VDA.
Yep. So it is VDA.
VDA.
Okay. So then.
Cool. So it is VDA.
Okay.
Good to know.
Fourth time's a charm. IP equals DHCP core OS install device VDA install device install image. Okay, core OS. Now it's like muscle memory. Install image URL. Image URL.
Make sure you don't fuck this up.
192.168.7.77 8080.
Holy smokes. Sorry.
So,
I'm ignoring chat. My bad.
Image URL.
That Conan Kudo.
Core OS.
It's VDX for VirtIO disks, SDX for everything else. So what is Christian using? Christian's using KDE. Unless you're doing IDE, and then it's old Linux, pre-Linux 2.6. Then it's HDX.
Yes. Well, sometimes I won't notice what kind of storage driver I'm using in the KVM thing, in KVM world.
And actually, Ahmed Syed 1983 said your ignition URL does not look correct while you were typing it.
Ignition, is it?
No. Previously. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
previously, because
gotcha.
I was ignoring chat on accident because I was doing command stuff over here.
I was doing command stuff.
Sorry, I'll pull up the chat and not Christian.
Here. So IP DHCP CoreOS install _ dev VDA CoreOS inst .image URL HTTP 192.168.7.77.8080 install bios.raw. Okay, that looks good to me. Install ignition URL. Colon 8080 ignition worker.ign. Okay, 4th time. Let's do it.
Be fun if it just like crashed.
Yeah, kernel panic.
Yeah. Like, nope.
So here. Well, the good thing is that it fails fast.
Right.
All
right. I got a new.
Oh, there we
command.
go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Off and running.
Up and running. Nice. 4th time. Cool.
Yes. All right.
So
writing image.
If you good whatever, however you feel about the Ansible installer for 3.x 3.11, right? I don't want to get into a discussion of what was better, whatever. But what was a little frustrating about the Ansible installer is that you'll get like 80% of the way to the install and then something went wrong, and whatever went wrong, it usually was either a typo or something else, but it wasn't just as easy as just rerunning the installer. You would have to essentially just scorch the earth and start over. So you basically wasted hours, like you're on hour 3 and then like, oh, you made a typo. Let me force this off. So the reason I'm forcing this off is because I'm going to
CD-ROM still connected?
Yeah, I'm going to disconnect the CD-ROM.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. Disconnect that guy. Boot options. I don't want the boot menu. Okay. See here. Yes. Here the disk I'm using VirtIO. Okay, so that's why it wouldn't be VA. Because you could put like SATA and it would come as SDA.
Yeah.
Or IDE or whatever. But I'm not going to change those.
You could put SCSI too.
SCSI.
You can make it real nasty.
There it is. We have CoreOS. So I embedded that worker.ign file. So right now, what that's going to do, let's take a look at the HTML ignition worker. Let me actually JQ that.
Okay, thank you.
There we go. What it's doing is that it's curling. It's actually very easy. This is a small ignition file, right? It's basically puts the cert and it gives the connection to the machine config API, right? Which is what this port is here, and it's actually just saying source this, meaning just basically just
pull in, curl
pull
this.
in, pull in and then apply this, right?
Right.
And so if I do a copy link, and if you actually curl this, come on.
Wait, why'd you do the -K? What does that do?
Curl -K, that is ignore the certificate.
Oh, that's right.
You
sure it's not capital K?
There it goes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It just takes a while. S for that, and then less. Yeah. While that worker's installing, right? So I have this ignition file, right? So if you look at this ignition file, if I do a JQ, it's just a ignition is just a YAML file, right? If you take a look at this this file that it gets.
The JSON file, you mean, right?
This JSON file it gets. If you look at this is basically the same file as if you do OC get machine config as this guy. Things are slowing down, as this rendered worker, right? So essentially, it's basically all that ignition file that you extracted in order to install is essentially saying, go grab this rendered worker config and apply it. So that way it gets applied. And it's the same as the other workers. So if I do OC get nodes, still going. Let's take a look at, it rebooted, right? So it applies.
Stops the Energizer Bunny.
It applies the config and then it reboots it, right? So anytime, if you've seen my the other streams about the machine config operator, anytime you make a change, it'll reboot it reboots the worker, right? Even if you just create a file, just a dummy file, it'll reboot that worker, right? So just so you guys, so when planning what did I have to set to? There we go. All right, so worker 2 is up. So then, since this is bare metal, if I do OC get nodes, if I do OC get CSR, I should have a pending one, right?
Cool.
So I have this for the new worker.
Nice.
So if I do OC ADM, what is, I have it somewhere. History approve. Actually, I have a script that does it. User local.
Of course you do.
Yeah. It's there we go. It's OC ADM.
Certificate approve.
Yeah, certificate approve, and it's just the name of the certificate, right? So this comes initially for the bootstrapper. So that's approved. If I do OC get CSR again, let's watch this here.
Approved and issued.
Yeah, approved and issued. There's going to be 2, right? So there's going to be another one. There it goes. It's kind of like a I trust you, you trust me sort of thing, right? So first is for the API server, and then it's the other way around. OC get CSR, approve, and then the name of this certificate here, this guy, the one that's pending.
Approve
and
that
then
one.
if you watch it, it should say approved issued. If I do OC get nodes, not ready.
Not ready. 27 seconds. We know it takes you about 90. So
there we go.
how's the weather out there?
How's the weather?
Yeah, like how's things going LA wise?
It's warm. So LA wise, it's about looks like it's about 90 right now.
Yeah.
I have the air on. But Northern California, Northern California is burning.
Right.
So I guess I should count my blessings
Yeah.
on it being hot.
No, I was on the phone with a marketing friend over. She works in the Bay Area for a startup, and she told me, she was like, yeah, we just got rid of her office, like completely. It was just like they're done with it.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. It's like it's something about like it's like it's new, it's great, it's central, but no one's gonna go there, so it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here. Is there any questions here? No questions so far.
Come on, not
That's
ready.
Still not ready. Come on. Here we go. Turning over. It might be this. Let me take a look at my load average is 12.
That's getting up there.
Getting up there. Come on.
Worker node is busy AF, dude.
Yeah. If you see right here, this guy setting itself up. It should come down pretty soon.
Yeah. Once it stabilizes, we'll see it.
Let me see here. Yeah, we should see it. Come on. There we go. I got some peaks and valleys. Well, it was up here, but now I got some peaks and valleys, so I guess that's good.
Check back. Go back to your watch screen. No, still not ready. What the hell?
Still not ready.
Okay. No. Here, I mean, this is Burr's use case, right? Like, here we go.
Yeah, that's right.
Man.
Here we go.
Oh, slowing down. Okay, so the API should be coming up in a healthy state here soon.
Should be coming up. Yeah, that's right.
There
we go. 13. Load of 13. So that's not too bad. I've seen this at 20. So that's how some time to go. I am swapping a little bit, but not too bad.
Ooh.
I'm using 5 megabytes. Swap a whole 5 megabytes.
What is that?
Swap space.
Do you have Kind running in the background too? Jesus.
That's right. Right. I did install earlier. If you look at vSphere, I did install Kubernetes 1.19. What was cool about 1.19 is that now if you're using a deprecated API, it'll give you a warning.
Right.
It'll say, oh, by the way, this will be deprecated in this version. And it's actually pretty helpful. It says use this,
oh, good.
Use this instead.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's actually, it was actually pretty neat. One of the things everyone should watch out for is the ingress is now out of beta, which means that like your old ingress,
you got to change.
You have to change some of those
API
things.
String.
Yeah. Well, the API strings and some of the options changed too. I had some issues this morning trying to get my ingresses to work, but it's all documented, so it wasn't like too hard. It's just like, he made it out of beta. So
yeah, that's always a good thing, right?
pretty cool,
like that's taken quite some time.
It's taken a while to get there, but we do actually finally have it.
Why is that box not ready?
Probably because my let's actually debug that.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening. So I can actually SSH to worker 2. I need to do it as core.
It seems bad if there's no auto migration. Well, they would have to dive into your ingress config and know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, right? Like the Kubernetes community and the Go community don't assume pretty much anything when it comes to what you're trying to do, right? Like Go tries to have like a stable, standard library that works well. Outside of that, that's kind of where they stop. But the Kubernetes community also kind of embraces that, like, we can't like do everything for you, right? Like, would it be great if there was an auto converter for everything? Things do go from alpha to beta to stable in Kubernetes, and they always have.
And also some of the things like there will be changes, right? Yeah. So like only until it gets, I think
once it goes stable, then you should expect things to be API backwards compliant and all that fun stuff, right? Like that's the expectation then. But Ingress has been in alpha and beta forever.
Let me see here. I forgot to put the. So I have a weird automatic SSH thing going on here. So.
Also, I'm curious. Det Conan Kudo, again, why are you upgrading nodes in place and not full on like cataling them? I mean, is there a resource limitation there or something?
Is that a question on the chat?
No, I'm asking the person saying that we should build auto migration tools for, or the Kubernetes community should build auto migration tools. So, only has 3 nodes. Well, okay, that's fair, right? Like, fair enough, but you could, right? Oh, so Waleed asks, you could do splat for the .ssh/config file, can't you? In theory, yes.
So completed. So it's not up because the pod isn't scheduling. Pod probably not scheduling because like
resources. Yeah. So let's see.
What I could do is I can remove a node, or at least power down one of the nodes. What size do I have the other nodes? Let's see here. This little worker here, this guy here. I have this guy as 8 gigs of RAM and 4 CPUs. Okay. Should I tweak my worker 2? Let's see how far I can push my guy here. All right, let's see here. Let's go boot options. No, CPUs. Let's just do 4. Sorry. And then what is it? 4090? No, 8192. Is it? Is that 8 gigs?
Yes, that's 8 gigs.
Math. I always have you do math when we stream. So
you do. Thank you, because math is my worst subject. Jeez.
Let's see here. Let's see if this might crash my machine. We don't know. We'll see.
So Waleed pointed to a project from Fairwinds called Pluto. Find Kubernetes resources that have been deprecated. Very simple utility to help users find deprecated Kubernetes API versions in their code repositories and their Helm releases. So yeah, you just run that against your code base and you go from beta to stable.
Yeah, and it's also how often you're upgrading Kubernetes is also will give you time, right? So if you're one that is like always running always the latest and greatest, fastest Kubernetes, right? Give me whichever the one. Yeah, you're gonna need a tool like that, or you're gonna need to like keep your eye on the change log. Or if you're using something like has a longer lifespan, right? Or something like OpenShift, you'll at least have 2 releases to know when it's coming. And what's really cool about the 1.19 or what will be 4.6 for OpenShift is now you'll have. That's what I really like about the 1.19 is that it'll tell you it'll be deprecated soon. It'll actually tells you what to change. So, which is miles ahead of where it was, right? Whereas you were on your own. When you used to update and then your manifest won't apply because it's up, you didn't read the change log or whatever. Which I'm not always great at reading the change log. So
no, I am. So Sysdig, I think StackRox, and a few other people actually like go through the change log and release blog posts before the release. So like. Because
those blogs are always really cool. Yeah,
those blogs are always really cool because they usually hit the highlights. But you can always follow what is it? Last Week in Kubernetes Development, LWKD. That's run by Josh Berkus. It's just a newsletter once a week. It just tells you all the stuff that's changing in the Kubernetes community constantly. Let me grab the URL for that for you.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, because change logs is good, but like. I don't have time to read all that. Like if those blogs are really useful because it's like, here's what to look out for.
Right.
And then if you want to read more, give me the
full spiel kind of deal. Yeah.
Give me the full spiel.
But this site actually, it's just every week, right? Like goes through significant issues and everything. So that's super nice if you're trying to stay up to speed on everything. Like I think you are, Conan Kudo there. Or what does the debt stand for is what I want to know. Yeah, so CNCF does all the webcasts regarding Kubernetes releases themselves. We do plenty of activation stuff for OpenShift releases that follow those Kubernetes releases. Detective Conan Kudo.
Detective.
I didn't know it could have been detonation. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, the community is very open to ideas. I'm not sure which SIG would be the right SIG to talk to about, Turing complete configuration management, but I still feel like that's way outside the scope.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon series. Conan Kudo?
Series. Okay, cartoon series? Is it? Not sure.
I have no idea. Anime. Okay.
Oh, anime. Okay.
Okay. Detective Conan. Got it. Cool. Did not know.
We're learning about anime here.
Dude.
We learn about all kinds of things here at
Podman is a rapper. That was the thing yesterday.
Podman is a rapper.
Podman is a rapper without the W.
Without the W. Like entertainment, right? Like a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Podman essentially has Builda in it, right? Like it's vendored in it, so you can build container images with Builda using Podman, but it's still Podman. And so like Langdon said, Podman's a rapper, and then Burr was like, I heard that as Podman is a rapper.
Like a rapper, yeah,
like
exactly.
a rapper. So email back and forth. Dan Walsh gets involved, and he's like, I've got an all black Adidas tracksuit. I was like, oh no. So, but the good news is, I need to book by ever expanding list of to-dos that never ever actually gets done. I have been given the green light to book anytime with Dan possible, so that will be coming soon. Yeah,
nice. I like that.
Yeah. So what's going on now?
Looks like I foobarred the worker, but
how did you foobar the worker?
But this actually is a good segue. Let's see, get nodes. This is a good segue. Then this is a good time or a good example of why you need to treat your nodes as cattle, right? Because now I'm just going to delete it, right?
Right.
I'm just going to delete the worker. delete the worker, and then I'm going to OC get OC delete a node, and delete this worker here too. Right, so it's gone, so we don't have to worry about it. So that's the manual way to add a worker, right? If I had more resources, it would spin up. You could sort of automate this a little bit, the installation. Same idea, right? You add the DNS, forward reverse, the DHCP address reservation, what else did I add? DHCP, the forward DNS, forward reserve. Oh, I grabbed the ignition file, the most current ignition file. One thing I am running, var lib tftp, is a TFTP, right? And what I'm doing here is that the TFTP, the node based on the MAC address is going to boot into a specific configuration. So depending on the node, is what it's gonna pull in the configuration, right? So I can set up my TFTP to where I don't have to like do all that typing, where I did, right? So if I well, someone asked me what's my
what are your
ESXi? This is I'm using KVM.
It's
so this
just straight up rel KVM.
Yeah, rel KVM, and this is using 64 gigs of RAM, but I only have 8 CPUs, right? So my VMware, I have what? This is, I don't know what this is. I don't know how many threads that is, but I have 128 gigs of RAM, I think. No,
256.
256 gigs of RAM. I don't know how many threads I have. It's a dual socket.
Okay, so you have at least probably four times 2, so 8.
Yeah, I have. I can spin up another OpenShift cluster if I want here. Hosting clusters, EXI. I don't know how many threads. 64 threads, right? Logical processor. So 64 threads, 256 gigs of RAM. So there it is here. So FYI, I only have one EXI host. That's all I need with this much. That's all I need. But yeah, I'm using straight KVM. So that's. You hear the worker. So worker. Okay, so let's grep. What do I call this? 13 from etc DHCP TCP conf. So the address is all right. So I'm going to CP one of this guys here. That's this guy.
Your mouse skills.
Mouse skills here. Change these to dashes. I'm pretty sure there's a sed. Do this.
Yeah, you totally could have and wasted a whole bunch of time.
Wasted a time. Yeah. What does Eric say? Eric says, "Why do something in 30 seconds when you can automate it? Did we take 3 hours to automate it?"
Automate it.
Yeah. It took me 3 hours to figure out the sed command to do this 30-second thing.
Right. Exactly.
So I CP that to that guy, right? So I should see. Oh, am I missing a character?
You missed a whole octet.
Oh, I'm missing the 01. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Is Nate on? Nate's the one of the guys that helps me build.
I think it's a precedence thing. Like you have to specify. I don't remember.
Maybe, yeah. So if someone knows,
it's a Pixie thing, I think.
Yeah, if someone knows about Pixie. So here I have, configuration, all of the configurations that I need, right? So IP DHCP core OS install equals yes. BDA image is the BIOS. So basically the same thing I typed out on the command line is what I put into here, right? And I don't need to do anything else. And I do restart systems restart. I think it's TFTP, something like that. Yep. Not sure if you need to restart it. I think it's XINET D maybe. I don't know.
You do. I don't know.
I'm showing my age here.
XINET D is not it anymore. No.
Yeah, it's not it anymore. Okay, so this is my old.
That's long gone.
Long gone. So now what I need to do.
You're making me feel old all of a sudden, dude.
Yeah. Wow. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna boot off Pixie, right? Network boot up Pixie. OS type Linux. I'm gonna do rel 8 unknown. 8192 4 CPUs. 120 gigs of let's customize, and I want OpenShift 4. Oops, I'm gonna call this OCP4 worker 2.
There you go.
And then
what's it complaining about?
Oh, it says this Pixie won't work, but it does. It's just
right.
It's just warning me it doesn't, even though it does. I'm not sure why, but
super encouraging. Thank you, KVM.
Yeah. Yeah, super encouraging. Yeah, thank you. I think this is one of those things that it works by accident, but don't complain to us if it doesn't, sort of thing.
Nice. 90 A2.
90, and then it's A2, you said?
Yeah.
So your math skills getting better each and every stream. So this is so this here, let's moment of truth, right? If I click on begin installation, it's gonna boot off Pixie.
Come on.
Right? So,
come on.
So it's gonna,
you can do it.
Right.
Like it's working. That's encouraging.
Yeah, it's doing something. So
okay.
It automatically found the configuration, right? Because if you can see it says TFTP, Pixie, okay. It's loading the kernel in the RAMFS, which means that it actually found the right configuration. So so this way is a little easier if you're using TFTP.
A lot easier.
A lot easier, right? So if you're using TFTP and HTTP with address reservation, you can sort of automate this a little bit, right? So if you know the MAC address of the host that the guy is,
Pixie is all layer 2 based, right?
Like, yeah, exactly.
That's the beauty of it, right? Like, and if it's a device where you can just set the MAC address to whatever you want, you can make this super simple for yourself if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Or like if you actually have bare metal, right? Like before the guy goes and racks it for you, just write down the MAC address.
Write down the MAC
address.
By the
time you set everything up, when he boots it off Pixie, it'll,
right, it'll just go on its own.
It'll take him a while to rack that, right? So it's not
nice.
Or if you're in a system where you can just statically set the like if you're like in a virtualization and treating it like bare metal, you can actually do this as well, right? So for static IP addresses, I do want to give a shout out to Chuck, right? We call him Chuckers. He has something called the CoreOS ISO Maker.
Wait,
and I'll drop that into the chat.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
So what ends up happening is that if you have, you just set up two settings, right? So you set up all your, configuration. Let me make this a little bigger. Like you put your gateway, your subnet mask, everything, whatever, your DNS, like everything you need to you set up static IPs. So that's config 1. And then he has this thing called single. Oops, that's not it. Where is the inventory? There we go. And then you set up the static IP addresses for your environment. And what it does is it builds an ISO that essentially does the same thing as the DHCP TFTP thing. It basically it's an ISO that you can boot off of, and you just kind of just select in the menu. It's like, oh, this is worker 1. You hit enter, and it essentially just automates that for you. So, so for the process, if you're using static IP, is very similar. If you want, you can use the ISO maker. But the process is still the same, right? You still need to have the DNS in place. You still need to extract the ignition file, the current ignition file, for it to boot up.
I started this project. You did show this to me at one point.
Oh, you started. Okay, there you go.
that way I know I've seen it at some point.
Yeah, it's one of I liked it. I even contributed to it a little bit because I'm like, I like this. Let me let me make some changes. But anyways,
That's
Chuck,
dope.
if you're watching, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Share that out. So let's see what is. All right, so worker 2 booted up.
Dang.
There we go. It installs. So let's do OC get nodes. Oop, it's CSR, right?
Oh yeah.
Let's look at. This is taking a while because look at my
Oh, hello.
look at my CPU utilization. It's just a straight line all the way up. So this
it's just stuck at the top.
my node average is about 20. So cool.
Okay, so it's
There we go.
Yeah.
So you get CSR.
approve issued.
So yeah, this will go into the that whole process again. But you can sort of automate adding workers to your bare metal nodes post install, right? So so the big takeaway is that just extract the worker ing file, right?
Right, IGN file, yeah. Ignition file.
Yeah. So essentially, this is
copy and paste that. Seriously.
Yeah. There we go. This is, if you've already installed OpenShift, you're familiar with the install process on bare metal. So all the prerequisites and whatever, but like the magic is this guy here, right? So the magic is essentially you just grab the worker and use that to bootstrap the worker.
Right.
And then you can just go through the similar process of adding, proving the CSR and just doing whatever it is you need to do. Let's see, get CSR. Yeah, there's a pending one.
Nice. I just tweeted out that command. Just cause.
Just cause, right? Just cause.
So like I try to everything we share in the stream, I try to share like
also
globally, in my like social media, right? So it's like, oh, that's a cool command. Well,
that's a cool command. Yeah. Hey, look at this. This is cool.
Yeah. So like I have a very complex system of sharing, but basically if I add it to Pocket, it'll get shared out eventually as a recommended read on social media everywhere. And yeah, so like I did that with Chucker's repo, right? Like as the show goes on, you see the recommended reads later on throughout the day. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So you put it in the queue essentially.
Yeah, I drop it in the queue and it gets consideration for the newsletter and everything. Obviously, the tweet is great. Like, I mean, I'm probably
that's
make it the tweet of the week, but whatever. So yeah, like it's just a nice way to share the love.
That's right, because it's open source, right? Share knowledge.
Yeah. There's no reason to hoard this knowledge.
That's right.
More smarter people is good.
Yeah, there we go. And now, it'll probably stay at not ready because of my resource constraint.
Probably.
If you want to do OC get pods, all namespaces, egrep. I don't care about running or completed. Right. So right here. Here's another one. If you want to share something out right here.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's.
Yeah. That'll show you everything. That'll show you everything that is not running completed. So like, why do I care about pods that are running? If they're running, they're running, right?
Right.
If they're completed, right? I want to see the ones that are like pending or errors or everything else.
Not good pods.
There we go. Not good pods.
Not that they're bad.
They're just not. Yeah, they're just not. They're not on a running state, right?
Right.
They had bad upbringing or whatever.
Had a bad upbringing.
Yeah.
Come from a rough neighborhood.
So there we go. So it's starting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you don't want this pause right here. If you want, oops, I can do no headers, right? You just get the pod name. Of course, it's the DNS one that's waiting.
Yeah, it's your favorite one.
There we go. OC
now.
get nodes. Ready. There we go.
And it only took 2 minutes. Wow.
Yeah. Well, because
that's not bad compared to 90 seconds previously, and your resources were completely smoked. I mean, that's actually pretty good considering.
Yeah. So here was system monitor. So it kind of calmed down a little bit. It's just the initialization little grab.
Obviously. Yeah.
So I dropped to like load average of 9. So not too bad.
There you go. Which makes sense because you have the existing node and then 8 others running, 6 others running.
Yeah, I have total of 6 now, plus the
Right.
helper.
Plus the helper, plus your existing box. So load
Plus
of
the
8
existing
makes
box,
total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it makes total sense.
No.
So there we go. So yeah, so then that's how to add a worker to a bare
Post
metal.
install.
Yeah, post install.
With
If you're on the cloud or anything that is using cloud integration, by all means, use the machine sets. You saw how easy that was.
That was
a few
super
seconds.
easy. Yeah.
A few seconds, you just OC scale machine, and then it'll give you a new worker. So, and then from there you can add it, do whatever you want with it, right? Make it an infra node, make it OCS node, whatever, right? But
yeah, like whatever you need to do,
whatever you have it needed, you add it to whatever workload is running. So yeah, so if you're in the cloud or anything like that, it's really easy. If you're using bare metal, it is a little easier, right? With the bare metal API,
yep.
You use Redfish or whatever. If you're using this agnostic installer, non-integrated, there's some manual steps, but then you can do some things like use DHCP, use that ISO maker to try to automate some of it. It doesn't have to be very painful. It's just more steps, but it doesn't have to be painful. So
relieving pain is what we're all about here on this channel.
Relieving pain. That's right. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was awesome, man. What you got cooking? Rest of the week.
Rest of the week, we have something cooking right on Friday, but
yeah, we always have something cooking here.
We always have next week. I believe I'm on with Andrew. Right, we're doing infra nodes on VMware.
Yes,
I believe if you look at the calendar.
Yes,
I'm going to be on with Andrew.
If you want to subscribe to our calendar, please do. Just hit that little, open it up. It'll have the Google Calendar logo. There's a little plus sign. You can add that to your own Google Calendar. Yep. And if you don't want to add the whole calendar, you can actually subscribe to individual events. So just right click on it and or click the event itself and then hit the 3-dot thing, and you can just subscribe to that individual event and be done with it. So tomorrow on the channel, we have very first thing in the morning for me, 1300 UTC for everybody else. So 9 a.m. For me, East Coast time, folks. How to get started with Quay Container Registry or Key Container Registry, depending upon how you say it.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are. I am, there will be multiple people on the call and they might say it differently, and that's fine.
That's right.
But that is actually very, very timely. If you haven't heard the news, Docker is changing their retention policy. I would highly encourage you to go investigate that. If you are using Docker Hub in any capacity in your infrastructure, please, please, please go read up on Docker Hub's latest changes, because that will impact you tremendously come November 1st.
Yep.
So figuring out how to use Quay is very, very timely. As a matter of fact, I moved all my stuff over to Quay this past weekend.
Yep.
So yeah.
Moved all, we have, I run workshops and I have all my images. I'm like, oh, better move those. So I made a migration to Quay.
Yeah. So
workshops.
I didn't do any cleanup or anything. So
yeah, no cleanup. Yeah. It was just, Scopio copy,
Yeah. No. So if they expire, I'm curious to see what happens November 1st, when mine expire though. Yeah. So we have a question. I may have missed it, but was HA proxy updated after setting up the worker IGN and TFTP for
TFTP. The HA proxy wasn't. The only reason you would need to is if your router, if you're going to run your router on that new worker, right? So by default on the agnostic installer, the scale is 2, right? Router scaler is 2. So you don't need, if you're going to add a third worker, you don't necessarily need to add it to the HA proxy or the load balancer, unless you're going to scale a router, and then you have to. The answer is depending on what you use that worker for.
Right.
You may need to add it to a load balancer. You may need to do other things, add disks, whatever, depending on your workload.
Yes, and I neglected to mention the noon OpenShift Commons briefing. It's Kevin Bear. We had to postpone that one last week. He is able to make it this week, thankfully.
Nice.
So, yeah, I think he came down with something. Luckily, I don't think it was anything serious. So the actual title of that is Anti-Patterns of DevOps Owners. So if you don't know who Kevin Bear is, he actually wrote the Phoenix Project, which is sitting right down there.
Nice. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, so he works for Red Hat now.
Yeah, something that everyone has read, right? It's
yeah.
Like
if you haven't read the Phoenix Project, please let me know. I will try to hook you up with a copy because it will change your life because it changed mine.
So you would so you mentioned something about something being the holy grail of DevOps. Is the Phoenix Project the Bible of DevOps?
Is the Phoenix Project the Bible of DevOps? No, I mean, I don't think so because it's based off like Gold Rat's The Goal and all this other stuff. I think it is an important part for modern organizations to do that. I mean, we all know what the Holy Grail.
Yeah, outside of IT, right? It's not even IT, right? Just in general,
right?
Organizational management.
Exactly, right? Like, you could pick up any book from Deming and probably be a better person and manager, right? Like, it's encouraging. So, like, I mean, I can't say there's a DevOps Bible, right? But I do have like a recommended list of books, and Emily Freeman's DevOps for Dummies is like probably number 1 on the list.
Ah, nice.
Just because she has put so much thought and effort into it, and like her definition of DevOps, like if you can Google it and find it, I wish I had it bookmarked. I know we're at the end of the time and everything, and I'm trying to get off the air, but go find her like video definition of DevOps on YouTube. It is refreshing, it is enlightening, and it is very lightweight and understandable. And she did it with, I have one because I did a DevOps Days talk, the live artist thing, where they're doing it, and during the conference while you're speaking, they're actually drawing.
They're like drawing it. Yeah.
Emily worked with one of those artists and actually did So yeah, her DevOps definition. Thank you, Crash. Loop back off me. Still the best name.
That's probably one of the greatest names I've seen.
DevOps
Internet points for you, points.
Yeah, exactly. Internet points. DevOps is an engineering culture of collaboration, ownership, and learning with the purpose of accelerating the software development lifecycle from ideation to production. It is a very, very clean and simple definition, right? Like, there's a whole lot of nuance to how you DevOps, but that is the definition of DevOps, in my opinion, right? Like, Emily Freeman's the authority on the definition.
Yeah.
So
what versus how, right? This is the what.
Right. This is the what it is, not the how. The how is explained in billions of books and blogs and pages and everything else, right? Like, anyways. So, emilyfreeman.io, or for now until it expires, I also alias supermom.io to her site. Because the amount of stuff she does for her kid on top of writing books,
that's pretty cool,
and being like a developer advocate at like leading a developer advocacy team at Microsoft on the Azure team is pretty insane, right? Like, she is a machine, and you're not following her work, definitely follow Emily Freeman, and go buy her book, DevOps for Dummies, if you need a good way to get started with DevOps. Hernandez, we're actually just about to get off the air. We're doing great, though.
We're doing great.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching.
We really appreciate it. Yes, and thank you, Waleed, for sharing her episode. I'm blanking on the word. Podcast.
Podcast.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Join us tomorrow again, 1300 UTC and 1600 UTC, for some awesome streaming on Quay or Key, however you want to say it, and DevOps anti-patterns. So talk to y'all soon.
All right, everyone. Bye.